So without further ado, please let me introduce you to Ma'am Michelle Dilhara. Welcome, Madam.
Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Hope you are keeping safe during this pandemic. And I think the past few hours must have been so intellectual because it was a wonderful session, and there was so much to get from the session that we listened for the past few minutes. So yeah, I was actually I had to log into this in the middle of the session due to some situations because I had to participate. So yeah, so let's begin. So first I would like to thank the Rotary Club of University of Colombo for organizing this program actually on endangered animal conservation because this is a very important topic we need to speak with the public today. We have to speak this to be, it's very important to speak with the society. So yeah, let's begin the session. So every living creature needs room to exist and reproduce. The natural home of a plant, animal, or other organism is known as a habitat. And maintaining this space is crucial to the ongoing survival of both individuals and species. So unfortunately, the habitats of large number of Earth's plant and animal species are under threat due to the impact of human beings on the planet. So habitat loss is contributing to the permanent loss of species, the weakening of ecosystems, and is impacting on both the overall health of the planet and the quality of life. So the planet's human population has doubled in the past 50 years, and the pressure to house and feed more than 7 billion people has seen incursions into previously pristine natural habitats. So at the same time, human impacts on Earth's climate are radically changing weather patterns, and as a result, the spread and nature of the loss of habitat. So the primary individual cause of loss of habitat is the clearing of land for agriculture. That's the main cause for this loss of habitat. An estimated 177,000 square kilometers of forests and woodlands are cleared annually to make space for farming in order to harvest timber for fuel and wood products for all sorts of manufacturing furniture as well. So estimates also suggest that the Earth has lost about half of its forests in 8,000 years of human activity. So 8,000 years of human activity that has occurred in the recent decades. And about 3% of the forests have been lost since 1990s alone. And it's just not the forest clearing that leads to habitat loss. The loss of wetlands, plains and lakes and other natural environments are all destroyed and degraded. They all have destroyed and degraded the habitat. And other human activities such as introducing invasive species, polluting, trading in wildlife, and engaging in wars has also destroyed our habitat. So this destruction of habitat also involves marine zones and the ocean. Like with urbanization, industrialization, and tourism, these are all affecting habitats in coastal areas. And some 40% of the global population lives within 100 kilometers of the coast. So this plays a major strain on wetlands and oceans. So apart from this, human activities that influence the extinction and endangerment of wild species fall into a number of categories. You can categorize into few categories. So the first is the unsustainable hunting and harvesting that cause mortality at rates that exceed the recruitment of new individuals. And second, land use practices like deforestation, urban and suburban developments, agricultural cultivation, and water management projects that encroach upon to destroy natural habitat. That's the second cause. Third is intentional or unintentional product of destructive diseases, parasites, and predators. Fourth is the ecological damage caused by water, air, and soil pollution. Fifth is anthropogenic. That's human caused global climate change. So alone or in combination, these stresses result in small fragmented populations of wild flora and fauna that becomes increasingly susceptible to inbreeding and to the inherent risks of small abundance, also called demographic instability. So without intervention, stressed population often it declines further and it becomes endangered. So with this continuous urbanization, deforestation, and environmental pollution, and all the other human activities that I'm talking, because of all these, we fail to see the irreversible mistakes we are causing to the biodiversity. Did you know that 5 million fish are killed per minute for our consumption? Let me emphasize the amount. 5 million fish are killed per minute globally. So imagine the amount of fish killed in a day. You multiply 24 by 60 and do the calculation. So that's a massive amount. And more than 200 million animals are killed for food around the world every day just on land. So including wild caught and farmed fish, we get a total closer to like 3 billion animals killed daily. And that comes out to 72 billion land animals and over 1.2 trillion aquatic animals killed for food around the world every year. And approximately 30,000 species per year. That means about 3 per hour are being driven to extinction. So we all know it's not a secret that Sri Lanka is a biodiversity hotspot that has one of the richest diversity of amphibians in the world, containing over like 140 species of amphibians, 173 species of reptiles, 227 species of birds, 93 species of freshwater fish, and approximately 245 butterfly species. So this is Sri Lanka is a country that is rich in biodiversity. But today, many of these endemic species are critically threatened. Many of these native species are critically threatened. So according to the Ministry of Wildlife and Forest Conservation in Sri Lanka, 83 wild elephants were killed since January. And these deaths were said to be caused due to electrocution, shootings, various explosive materials, falling into wells, train accidents, natural causes, and mainly due to the human-elephant conflict. So these elephants, they tend to enter villages. Why? Because they are going in search of food. Because people have caused deforestation and has lost their only food sources. So that's why they are entering these villages in search of food. And apart from that, according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, 41 of these mammals are threatened and 16 of these species are endemic out of these 41. And 56 reptile species are threatened and 46 of the bird species are threatened. So there are so many species that are being threatened currently. So I think in the past few sessions, you all must have come to know some of the critically endangered animals in Sri Lanka. So I'm not going to talk about that. Since for the past few minutes, y'all have y'all heard about these endangered animals and talking about these animals and what we can do about these. So I'll just move on to some of the causes of these endangerments. What causes these endangerments? So the biodiversity of the world is actually created to accompany all these species. But today, as I mentioned earlier, humans have become a danger to other species. We are consuming all the resources alone. We consume all the resources alone. So with the evolution, humans are now the advanced species compared to other species. And compared to other species, humans have the ability of complex reasoning, use of complex language, ability to solve difficult problems, and introspection. That means describing your own thoughts and feelings. We have the ability to describe our own thoughts and feelings. And then the ability for creativity, or the feeling of joy or sorrow. This is all uniquely human. Humans have highly developed the brain that allows us to, do multitasking. For an example, like if we compare ants, even though the ants are very much similar to humans in building houses or working as a group or building communities compared to humans, the evolutionary timeline of ants didn't make much of a difference in cognitive development. Their activities and patterns are predictable for the past 1,000 years. But humans became more social. Differences in intelligence translated into much greater differences in fitness, because they can manipulate their social structure to their advantage. So that's why humans became the dominant species on the planet, unlike other animals. So how did these humans become a threat to these species? Since the Industrial Revolution in
Madam, you're on mute. Yes, ma'am, yeah.
Right, okay, sorry. I think there was a small connection error. So yeah, since the Industrial Revolution, human activities have released more than 2,000 gigatons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, increasing the atmospheric temperature and atmospheric concentrations of carbon dioxide by 48% over the past 171 years. And the global transport sector was responsible for approximately 8 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions in 2018. So these human activities and the human rat race all of these have caused a massive biodiversity decline, because we are unknowingly destroying the space of other species for our own benefits and advancements. So in return, this has led to climate change and global warming. So there's a famous quote I would like to share with you all. Destroy and you will be destroyed. What you sow is what you reap. So we have to expect the consequences of our actions, because our planet will not bear its devastation at the present rate. Nature has been watching us, nature has been watching our activities for a long, long time. And now we have to pay the prices. This is where COVID-19 comes to spotlight. This pandemic has taught us a very important lesson. It taught us that everyone is equal. There's no exception when you're exposed to COVID. Death rates increased at an alarming rate. Large companies and airports had to be closed. And this pandemic made us to wear face masks and hide our faces from the world, no matter how much makeup you put on. We had to wear face masks. So globally, the total number of deaths due to COVID is approximately 4.5 million. And 7 million people worldwide die every year due to air pollution. And that's approximately 10% of the world's population, which is 7.9 billion. So yeah, these are the consequences of our actions. Nature has started to attack us. We polluted the environment with plastics, but today we wrap ourselves with plastic to protect us. See how the nature is attacking us. So as a result of this pandemic, as I mentioned earlier, all of us had to drop our targets. Businessmen had to back off from their sales targets. Companies had to close down. Vehicle owners had to return their vehicles because they couldn't pay leasing. Yeah, we had to practice social distancing in fear of getting contaminated. And people are even unable to carry on their basic lifestyles. This is how the environment is attacking us. So economically speaking, when we speak economically, according to an article that was released in Economist magazine, they have mentioned that approximately $100 billion worth of damages were caused due to this climate change and extreme weather events. And if we didn't control this within the next 30 years, that could reach $8 trillion. So the past few decades, we went against nature, but today, nature is against us. But COVID has given us time and space to think of our mistakes. This is the time where we need heroes and leaders. Not the fictional heroes like Superman, Spider-Man, or Batman that we have seen in movies. But we need real heroes and leaders to save the planet. So that's why I once again thank Rotaract Club for organizing these sessions and joining these activists, joining the professionals, and joining the youth in making aware of this current critical situation and encouraging them to find solutions to these issues. So I believe that there will be so many leaders among the participants today, because every one of you have already dedicated your time for nearly 2 hours to 2.5 hours to listen to what others have to say about these issues. So this is the first step. This is the first step. Youth are the next leaders in this country, as I believe. They will be able to stop these disasters from reaching the point of no return if you act now. So if we all come together and promote this literacy around the world, we will be able to solve these issues to some extent. People have already started to realize about their mistakes, and they have already started to adjust their lifestyles to a new normal. These trigger points are the key factors that create activists. So I became an activist and started fighting for these humanitarian and environmental issues when I was 15 years old. So there was an incident that triggered me as well. So I'll summarize this incident and tell it to you because of the time we have. So the incident was, I went to a hospital. I went to the Negombo hospital with my father to visit my uncle who was about to undergo an operation. So there I saw 2 dead bodies that was lying in the hospital. And a family was fighting with the hospital staff to claim one of the dead bodies as soon as possible. They wanted to take it soon from the hospital. But I saw there was another dead body, the second dead body that was lying next to the first one. So after visiting my uncle who was hospitalized, I came back with my father to where the incident took place. And I wanted to ask the nurse what happened to the second body that was lying around, because I was so curious. 15 years means all of us are curious to know about things. No? So I was so curious, I went and asked her. So she said that she informed his family members and relatives about his death, and they were expecting them to come and take the body. But 1 week after this incident, I went to the same hospital with my father and asked the nurse what happened to the second dead body which was lying during that incident. I really wanted to know. And the nurse said that none of his relatives or family came to claim his body even after informing them. Therefore, they had to bury it with government funds. Then I was wondering why 2 people who died in the same country, same area, same time, and who lived in the same neighborhood have 2 different destinies, and why were they treated differently? So this made me realize that the society have marginalized certain people as rich and poor, beautiful and ugly, educated and uneducated. So this marginalization have affected many people, and I understood this when I was 15 years old. So I was, trying to figure out. At the same time, I was like, after this incident took place, I was trying to figure out, okay, to which group am I belong to? Which group I was belong to? And then after continuously thinking, I realized that I was in the marginalized group. Why? Because I was also invisible in the society. People took decisions on behalf of me. My preferences were never important to them. And there were so many instances where I ate and drank food that I didn't like because I was never asked about my favorite food. I was always a backward and a voiceless person. So this made me realize that one day I will also end up just like the second dead body I saw. Then I thought, no, I'm going to come out of this, break the glass ceiling and talk. I wanted to be the voice for the voiceless. So I started volunteering in children's homes and in elder homes. I wrote a book on social invisibility called Social Invisibility is Not a Fiction, It Exists, with Emeritus Professor Antoinette Pereira from Sri Jayawardhanapura University. And then I published it on Amazon. Amazon is a publisher. I carried out practical implementations, started projects for environmental issues, and I continued my fight for the past 10 years. And then in 2018, I received the Asia Inspiration Award at South Asian Youth Summit for Philanthropy. And then in 2019, I received the National Youth Icon Award for my book at the World Youth Summit that was held in New Delhi. So this gave me the opportunity to talk to international newspapers. And then this gave me the opportunity to be appointed as the Earth Day Network ambassador to Sri Lanka, along with the actress Juhi Chawla, who was the Earth Day Network ambassador to India. So yeah, Earth Day Network is one of the largest environmental organizations that covers nearly 193 countries with over 100,000 sub-organizations globally. So that's Earth Day Network. So yeah, with this, I got the opportunity to talk to the world, participate in international summits, and work with prestigious universities around the world. I recently worked with Harvard University as well on some of climate change issues. So this is a time we urgently need activists. People are in danger, and so is the planet. We need heroes and leaders to talk about animals that are voiceless. But we can't do this alone. We need the strength of youth to make a change. Everyone who has joined this session, I believe every one of you who have joined this session today has a hero within you, has a hero inside. But the thing is, you need to call them out. That's what you have to do. So thank you very much. And I take this opportunity to thank Professor Erandi Lokupitiya, whom I did one session before this. So I thank her, as well as I thank the Rotaract Club of University of Colombo and all the panelists who gave their lectures today, plus all the participants who dedicated their valuable time for this. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you will have a safe weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your love for the nature have made you their savior, and your love for the humanity has helped you become a wonderful contribution to this society.